let's move on to study the drugs which are going to block neuromuscular activity. So when it comes to the drugs that blocks neuromuscular activity, there are going to be few types of drugs, and most important, these drugs are getting classified into two classes. Those two classes of drugs are extremely significant. Other classes of drugs are also going to be there, but they play very trivial role. We rarely use those drugs. Now let's classify the drugs that blocks neuromuscular activity into two subheadings. Alright people, and the first class of drugs is going to be called as depolarizing muscle blockers. And the second class of drugs is going to be named as non-depolarizing muscle blockers. Depolarizing as well as non-depolarizing muscle blockers, doctors. Now what is this? What is depolarizing blockers and non-depolarizing blockers? Let's study these drugs in detail. So there are few drugs, when gets injected into the body, this drug is going to look and act very similar to acetylcholine. So these depolarizing blockers are extremely similar in two terms, both in terms of structural as well as in terms of functionality. These drugs are very similar in structural as well as functional manner with acetylcholine. They have a strong similarity with acetylcholine both structurally as well as functionally. And they act just like acetylcholine, people. But there is going to be one key difference. Being a synthetic drug, this drug will not be blocked by. This drug will not get broken down by acetylcholine esterase. That is another classic point when it comes to depolarizing muscle blockers. Even though they have a structural similarity, even though they have a functional similarity to acetylcholine, this one drug cannot be broken down by acetylcholine esterase. So guys, what's going to happen? Every time when you inject the drug into the patient's system, this drug is going to compete with acetylcholine for the same receptor, which is nothing but acetylcholine receptors. And you guys know what is acetylcholine receptors, which is nothing but ligand gated sodium channels.